Okay, so we'll begin by reading the Mangalacharan, and for those of you who are there and want to follow along, we're reading from Shyamdas's edition, the teachings of Vallabhacharya, and right from the beginning, auspicious beginning, which is Mangalacharan. And so we'll start off with the first shloka, and for those of us who are not familiar so much with Sanskritam, I'll review a little bit some of the words of the shlokas so that while we chant the shlokas, there's more adhyatmic, cognizant connection with the mantras we're using. So chinta comes from chittam, to consider, to dwell upon, meditate, and so on, thought. So chinta can also become anxiety when it becomes the predominant focus. So here it's like anxiety. And santa is like the saintly people in the shloka who are being referred to as those who have come to Vallabhacharya for shelter. And hanta is to destroy or remove. Padambuja, so pada is feet, padam, and ambuja is like a lotus. So his feet, because he's guru, or a manifestation of Krishna in our lives, coming to personally interact with us in a way that we can currently relate to him, his form becomes revealed as very delightful, very graceful, and reveals to us a lot of beautiful qualities. So even his feet, which are the first basic way symbolizing respect and honor, they're seen like lotus feet. Right? The form reveals itself with a lot of grace and beauty. And Renavaha is the dust. So the dust of those beautiful lotus feet remove the chinta, the anxieties of those santas, those saintly people who come to him. Sviyanam, one's own acharya, tannijacharyan. Pranamami, to my own acharya, I pranamami. I give my respects. Muhur muhuhu, again and again. Repeatedly. So, Chinta Sandhana Antaro Yat Padam Bujarinavaha Sviyanam Tan Mijacharyan Pranamami Murmuhu. And then next shloka is for Vallabhacharya's son Vithalanathji. So, Yadanu Grahato Jantuhu. So graha is to capture or to take or to grasp. Now again, the same kind of concept. He's grahaing, he's grasping the anxieties, the dukkha. So it says, yadanu grahato jantu, sarva dukkha. Sarva is all, and dukkha is like the anxiety, lamentation, the negative feelings, the dukkha. So sarva dukkha, all of those dukkhas, he is grahain, he's grasping them from all those jantuhu, those people. And so to that person who's doing that, removing the anxieties of the blessed ones, vande, another term which means like complete respect and adoration. I always, sarvada, vande, and always give my respects to Vallabhanandanam. So usually parents can be, one of the names of parents are one who is beloved, one of the names of children, one who is beloved to their parents. So Vallabha, his father, Nandanam, one who is the ananda or bliss of his father, Vallabhacharya. So we'll sing. Yadanu graho jantuhu sarvadukkhati go bhavet tamaham sarvada vande Srimad Vallabhanandanam. And then the next shloka, Ajnana. So jnana is knowledge, jnat, to know, the knower. So ajnana, not knowing, or ignorance. Andha, right, the internal part is dark. And the guru is the person who comes in with a shalaka, which is a tool that is used to open up eyes when they become diseased. It's like a surgical tool. And anjana is an ointment that is applied to the eyes, right? Such as kajal and so on. And in this case, the eye which has become diseased with the darkness, it's using this tool and this ointment to, again, bring knowledge and light to us. So the guru, or that person who's doing that for us and giving us chakshus, or vision, tasmai shri gurave namaha, my namaha, my namami, my obeisance to that guru. And then again, namami, my respects to, this is a very beautiful shloka by Vallabhacharya himself. Namami hridaye sheshe. Shesha is like diversity, right? And hridaye, in his heart. So Krishna is reclining in the diversity of his heart. His heart is constantly expanding in bliss and varieties of that bliss. And his lila is taking place in that constantly expanding realm, which is simply an endless expression of his own bliss. And the activities, the play that's happening there is lila. So Krishna is reclining, or enjoying on the level of his character. It's all of reclining inside of his lila realm. And in that lila realm, it describes Lakshmi Sahasra. Lakshmi, literally the goddess of fortune. Sahasra, many of these Lakshmis, endless amounts of Lakshmis are there partaking in that lila with him. Sevyamanam kalanidhim, right? Rendering his seva and participating in that. So we'll sing. Namami hridaye sheshe lilakshirabdhishainam Lakshmi Sahasra Lilabhi Sevyamanam Kalanidhim. And then now Chaturbhishcha, 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 Trivishtatha. So inside of the Bhagavat, first of all, the Bhagavat is considered the most authoritative pramana, or evidential literature used in the lineage. Because it provides a darshana, or a perspective, an approach to the Vedic literature, which reveals Purushottam, or the personal aspect of the divine as Krishna. And so the section inside of the Bhagavat, that even within that Bhagavat focuses on that Purushottam aspect, and particularly the Madhurya, the sweet aspect of that person. And even inside of that, those particular chapters inside of that section, which highlight the most intimate and sweet aspects of that sweet personal form of the divine, I offer my respects unto those specific Rasa Panchadhyaya, those chapters that deal with the Rasa, those 5 chapters there. So, Chaturbhishcha, 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 Trivishtatha, Shadbhir Virajate Yoso, Panchadha Hridaye Mama. And now there are the Nidhi Swarups, the forms of Krishna, which are worshipped as the primary forms. There's 7 of them in the 7 different lineages in the Vallabh Sampradaya, coming from the 7 sons of Vithalanathji, Gosainji, who is the son of Vallabhacharya. So those 7 families, Vallabhacharya gave a Nidhi Swarup, or a Krishna Swarup, to each of those, not Vallabhacharya, but Gosainji. Vithalanathji gave one Swarup to each of those lineages, and there's also the Srinathji, which is worshipped by all of them as the main Swarup for the entire lineage. So this shloka pays homage to each of those Swarups with nice poetry. So first of them is Govardhananatha, the Nata, the Lord of Govardhana, the hill in Vrindavana, where Krishna performed his most intimate leelas that were just talked about in the previous shloka. So Govardhananatha, Pada Yugalam, the 2 feet, the Pada, the 2 feet of the Yugalam, the beloved couple, Govardhana, the Hayan Gavina Priyam. The Gavi is like butter or ghee. And the one who is Priyam, to whom this ghee or this butter is very dear. He's a lover, a butter lover. And this is from the second house. They're worshipping the Namanita Priyaji. So, and then Nityam Shri Mathuradhipam. So this is Mathuradish. Sukhakaram Shri Vithaleshan Muda, Vithalesha. Shri Madhavarapatisha Gokulapatin. So Gokula Nachi. This is in the town of Gokulendum Vibhum, the Lord of Gokula. This is where one of Shyamdasa's homes was, where I used to stay with him a lot. And there is where the Gokul Nachi resides. Shri Manman Mathamohanam Natavaram Shri Bala Krishnam Bhaji. Then next we pay homage to this Vallabhacharya, Vithalanachi, his son, and the 7 sons of Vithalanachi. And then once that is complete, we go through all those names. Then on the last part of the shloka, Kalindim. So Kalindim is another name from for Sri Yamuna. And Kalindi was also the form Sri Yamuna took as a wife of Krishna as well in his lila. And then Svagurum, our own guru. Sva is one's own guru, Svagurum. So Kalindim, we should also meditate on Kalindim, Sri Yamuna. Svagurum, our own guru. Girim, Giri means hill, so this is referring to the Govardhana hill. And the Guru Vibhum, so Vibhu is like the Lord. So your Guru's Swarupa, so for instance, Milan Babasri, right, Mathuradisha, and then Sviya Prabhu, our own Thakurji that we worship, should be meditated upon. Smaret, remember, Smaret. So chant this. Shrimad Vallabha Vithalo Giridharam Govindaraya Bhidham Shrimad Balakrishna Gokula Patinatham Raghunam Statha Evam Shri Adunayakam Kilaganashyamam Chatarvangshajan Kalindim Swagurum Girim Guru Vibhum Sviya Prabhumscha Smare. And so, as you can see, we're gradually leading into more and more meditation here. So now Shri Krishna's own form, so that what the Guru gives darshan out. So this one is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Venu Gita section, or the Song of Krishna's Flute. There's a whole section of poetry, a work inside of the Bhagavad called Venu Gita, and this is from that section. So Barha Pidam, so he's wearing on his head a peacock feather, which is slightly hanging. And Natavara Vapuhu, so Vapuhu, his form is like a Natavar. So a Natak is an actor, a Natavar is somebody who's like an actor, a supreme actor, a very expert, the best actor is Krishna. So he's Natavara Vapuhu, just like a beautiful actor. An actor is capable, a very expert one. He's capable of charming and enchanting everybody and engaging everybody in their drama at one and the same time. So that is Krishna. And Karnayoho, Karnikaram, so on his Karn, his ear, Karna, he has Karnikaram. His ears are decorated with like a little flowers garland or something, hanging flowers on his ears. And Vibhradvasa. Vasa is cloth. So just like the English word vibrant comes from the Sanskrit word vibra. So Vibhradvasa, his vibrant, like practically glowing cloth, which is said to be like a brilliant yellow saffron color, like the inner part of a lotus flower, brilliant yellow like that. So Vibhradvasa, Kanaka Kapisham, Vaijayanti and Vaijayanting Chamalam. So Jayanti is like victorious. Vaijayanti is all victorious. So his garland, he has a sylvan or a forest flower garland that he wears, which is the best garland you could ever make. It's Vaijayanti, it's, defeating the glory of all other garlands. And then Randhran Vinor Dhara Sudaya. So when he's filling his flute with this nectar, and that nectar is then filling Purayan. Pura, right, is full. Purayan is filling. It fills. Gopa Vrindai. So the Gopas, the cowherd people of the Vraja area that are there in his Leela with him, he's filling them. Purayan, Gopa Vrindai, all those Gopas and Vrinda, the residents of that Vrinda area, Vrindavan. So Vrindaranyam Svapadaramanam. Pravishadagitik Svapadaramanam, with his steps, his pada, his feet, right, stepping, Svapada, with his steps, Ramanam. Ramate is pleasure, right, enjoyment, like that. He's giving these residents, with every step that he takes, he's giving full pleasure and dalliance to all of those residents there. Pravishada Gita Kirti, and they are being filled with that grace. Gita, they're singing. Kirti, like kirtan, another form here is kirti. They're singing his kirti, his fame, his glories. So he is playing his flute, very beautifully decorated with the flowers in his ears, the beautiful flower garland here, the peacock's feather hanging, and so on, taking very graceful steps and engaging and enchanting everybody all around him. And being completely filled with his grace, they're also kirtana. They're doing his kirtan, they're singing his praise and glories, overflowing with his power. So, let's chant. Varhatidam natavarvatu karnayoho karnikaram vibhradvasah kanakakapisham Vaijayantim chamalam Randhranaveno Radhar Sudaya Purayan Gopa Vrindai Vrindaranyam Svapadaramanam Pravishadagita Kirtihi. And so now, as this Leela is all going on, the Guru's form inside of that Leela, what is the Guru's relationship? Who has revealed this to us in that Leela? Saundaryam, Nija Hridagatam, Prakatitam. So Prakata is being manifested, right? To manifest. So Prakatitam, he's manifesting or manifests. So Nija, it comes from, Nija is Ja is born. So Nija, it comes from the Hridagatam. The Hridayam is heart. So from the Guru, from Krishna's heart, so it's Krishna, from his heart, Nija, Hridagatam, Prakatitam, being manifested, is this Saundaryam, this very beautiful, Stri Gudhabhavatmakam. The Stri is the feminine energy. So Krishna is perceiving Swamini, the way that he sees her. And that beautiful form, right, that is seen within his heart is being manifested. And then next, Pumba, so Pumsa is the masculine. Pumsa, so Stri feminine, Pumsa masculine. Rupancha, so from Punasta Dantaragatam, so from Swamini, from Krishna Swamini, she perceives in her heart this form of Krishna that only she perceives. And so that form of Krishna is being manifested from her heart. And Sanshlishthavu bhayo vabho rasamayaha Krishna hi yat sakshikam. And then those two forms combine into the form of the witness, the sakshi of the lila. And that is the form of Guru. So this in Pushti Marg, the form or the swarup of the Guru is being manifested in that way. So our Guru is seen as a manifestation of that Guru, that Vallabha. Vallabha literally means the dear one. So Rasamaya Krishna hi yat sakshikam, he's certainly the witness of that lila. Rupam tatriyatmakam, so that form, that rupam, tatriyatmakam, that self, right? Paramabhidhyayam, that highest, beautiful, most intimate form. Dhyayam, dhyanam is meditation. So dhyayam is to meditate upon. Sada, always. Vallabham, on the Guru, Shri Vallabh. So we'll chant. Saundaryam nija hridagatam prakatitam stri gurudha bhavatmakam pum rupancha punastadantaraгаtam pravi vishat swapriye sanslishta vubhayo bhavo rasamaya Krishna hi yat sakshikam rupam tatriyatmakam paramabhidhyayam sada vallabham. And then last piece is Shri Vallabh's son, Vithalanatji, who did a great amount of expansion and actually set in place many of the structures that are that the Sampradaya formed around. So this just describes his form actually, it's a very nice picture that it paints of him sitting in a bower, doing his sandhyas. So the sandhya is like the twilight when the day has its different phases, from the night coming into the morning, from the day switching from the morning to the afternoon, so a high noon part, and then when the sun is setting, so leaving from the afternoon into the evening. So those are the sandhyas. And on each sandhya, there will be, in the Brahminical tradition, different ritualistic practices where you'll face different directions, paying homage to the deities in each of the directions, and so on. And so in the Vallabha Sampradaya, these gurus in the lineage holders, they will perform all of these sandhyas regularly and properly, so that those who have taken their diksha, their initiation, and are taking shelter through them, they partake of his respects given during these sandhyas, and they don't have to bother. That's the realm of Vedic ritual. And so, without having to worry about that, the disciples can simply focus directly on their seva. So here, Vithalanatji, the son of Vallabhacharya, is sitting in a lovely bower. So the kunja is the bower. So sayam, he's there, and that kunja, kunjale sthasanam. He is situated, right? Sta is coming, the English word steady comes from that. Asanam, he's sitting in his asanam, his sitting position. Upavilat satsvarna atram sudhautam. So he's doing the the breathing exercise, right, with the Vishnu mudra and so on. So we'll just read through this one since the time is going. So sayam kunjalayasthasanam upavilat satsvarna patram sudhautam Rajadyagno pavitam paritan vasanam Guramam Bhujavatram Prananayam yanasa Nasa putana hitakaram Karnarajadvimuktam Andir dhonilataksham Rgamadatilakam Vithalesham Sukhesham. Okay. So if anybody has any questions or comments there before we move on to the main topic here, which is Bala Bodh. So Bala Bodh is it's the first work in the Shodasha, or the 16 Grantha, the 16 works or books of Vallabhacharya, and the Bala Bodh, Bodha's teachings, Bala, children. It sets the whole stage inside of the context of the Vedic literature and Vedic thought. So where does Pushti fit in to the Vedic perspective is being depicted here. And then also he goes into, okay, now once that arena is depicted, then we'll go into a little bit into the substance of that Pushti as it exists in that context. So we'll just begin here. So the first, and I'll read Shyamdasa's introduction here, since this was a teaching imparted by Vallabhacharya to one of his disciples. So let's see, he composed this teaching for his disciple LalitaDasa. So LalitaDasa was a Bengali who Vallabhacharya met. It maps out the different approaches to liberation and is truly a guide for novices on the spiritual path. After explaining 4 possible ways to achieve liberation, the master touches upon seva, the beloved devotional practice. So in the Vedas, there are 4 paths to get that which is desirable to people and which is most available to human beings more than animals. There are rare cases where animals can get that, but it's called the Purush Artha. So Artha in a common dialogue would be a word we could use for wealth. In a more, you can say ontological, like what is wealth, is that which is desirable. So for instance, if I'm talking about a cup and getting water in that cup, the water is the artha for the cup and the drinking process, the artha, right? That which is desirable. So the purusha, right, is the person. It doesn't have a gender associated with it. It's just the personal principle, the person. So the purushartha, or those things that are desirable to purushas or people, are said to be of 4 in number. And so Vallabhacharya begins here with saying that these 4 pursuits have been dealt with in all the Vedic literatures. And there's many Vedic literatures that approach them in different ways, but basically these are the things the Vedic literatures are laying out. So dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And so Vallabhacharya points out that the 3 first ones, right, have been dealt with extensively. He's going to focus in this work on moksha. And inside of that moksha, there's 2 varieties of paths and 2 types of paths within those 2 varieties. So 2 that are ascending and descending. So we'll get into that. So backing up, 4 purusharthas, 4 goals or pursuits of human beings. So those we can try to understand a little bit today. And if anyone has any questions as we go through stuff to reiterate, that's fine.
Can you remind us what page you're on now?
I'm on page 27. And so Natva Harim Sadanandam Sarvasiddhanta Sangraham Bala Prabodhanataya Vadami Suvinishchitam. So Natva Harim, right, having bowed, past tense, Natva, I have bowed, Harim, Siddha, right, Sadanandam, to the all blissful, Sadanandam, Ananda bliss, Sadanandam, always blissful Hari, having bowed to the always blissful Hari, Sarva Siddhanta Sangraham, so graha, again to grasp, to grab, graha, grab, Sarva, all, Siddhanta, conclusions, right? So this Bala Prabodhanarthaya, Arthaya, that which is needed, necessary, or desirable for the Bala, right? Prabodha, to understand. Vadami, I am speaking. Suvinishchitam, with great clarity. So now he's going to do that. So dharmartha kama moksha chatvarortha manishinam. So sages have already read for the manishinam, the people, moksha chatvaro. So in Sanskritam, chatvara is 4. Moksha, so when he says moksha, Moksha kya chatvaro. So those four paths of moksha, sages have revealed there are four pursuits of human life: dharma, wealth, desire, and liberation. Those teachings have been considered by teachers in the world as well as by God himself. So dharma, we'll just go through these quickly, although that's the subject of the whole Vedas, so it is an expansive subject as well. But basically here we're focusing on understanding the four pursuits of human life to provide context for understanding the Pushti mark. So dharma is, you can say the deepest level of the meaning of dharma is the intrinsic characteristics of an object. So for instance, the sun or fire, you can say. The dharma of fire could be said to be heat and light. Those qualities cannot be separated from fire, otherwise the fire loses it's something else. It can't be fire we're talking about if it doesn't possess those attributes of heat and light. Right? Therefore, even sight is associated as having some of the qualities of fire. Right? Knowledge also reveals the light of things, right? So on. Digestive power, even though it's not a flame, it's fire because it's burning, it's hot. And so on. So the dharma of fire, or its intrinsic attributes, are like heat and light, but also dharma in the sense of its swadharma, its duty is to provide heat and light. Right? So dharma, right, sets the stage for what type of thing we're dealing with. And then artha, what is desirable now that we've considered the dharma of a thing? What is desirable for that thing to be able to do the thing that it does? Right? And then kama, so each dharma is like a universal idea, you can say. So each person is going to have their swadharmas also, which gives rise to a particular type of desire, right? A fulfilling type of enjoyment, right? A sensual enjoyment, particularly. When we get sensual enjoyment, which keeps the body and mind in a balanced state. So this is a balance that is right there. The body can perform its dharma, which serves our dharma, if regulated and balanced properly. When this balance is achieved and one's dharma is allowed to develop, right? So the body's dharma, right, is being kept in balance with enough kama, and you're getting the arthas you need. Dharma is right built up into this nice fire, and your spiritual being can then be evolving. Then moksha is attainable to the degree, right, that spirit is then nourished and developed with dharma. Dharma is the nourishment of the soul. That soul can then develop into an expressive, free, liberated person, moksha. So Vallabhacharya continues. So the Vedas have already addressed divine reality in terms of how to attain it, as well as the object of that attainment. The four pursuits of life have also been proclaimed by sages living in the world according to the teachings they received from God. So there's Lokiga Rishibhir Prokta. They are the rishis, the sages of the world, have prokta, they have proclaimed, right? Shikshaya, and given those teachings. So, Lokikamstu Parakshyami Vedadagya Yathastitaha Dharma Shastrani Nitishya Kama Shastrani Chakrama. So there's shastras for the kama, there's shastras for the dharma. So Dharma Shastrani Nitishya Kama Shastrani, right? So the Vedas have explained these things. I will now explain what the sages have revealed about the pursuits of life. The doctrines that address dharma, proper behavior, wealth, that's artha, and erotics, kama, right? This is also the Rasa Shastra deals with that, have already detailed the means to attain those three pursuits of life. And I'll add this word in separately. So there's many of these texts in the Vedas that deal with artha, how to acquire that which is desirable to you. This has to do with politics, sociology, economics, right? All this kind of stuff. When the Vedic teachings are taken out of context and we're just studying it from artha, from kama, right? From dharma, like lawful, right, ritualistic behavior, then we lose context and we can get, right, lost. We don't recognize the forest that these trees or these section of this garden is a part of. So the moksha, the free person, is the one who can see the whole garden and knows his way around the garden and can freely, moksha, free, move around in that garden to perform their seva. So he will not discuss those things separately here, he says. However, there are 4 traditions concerning liberation. So moksha, the last line of the shloka, and this is on page 28, the second shloka on 28, shlokas 4 and 5. The last line there, mokshe, so of moksha. Mokshe chatvari, chatvari again 4. So mokshe chatvari, there's 4 paths, shastrani in the shastras, lokike paratasvataha. So there's loka, worldly, and parata, par. So we were just listening to a talk of Shyamdas on the Narada Bhakti Sutra, and he touches on this. So parataha and svataha. So the para path, the word parents come from para. That is taking the grace, the support of the parent, the person in the fostering position. And sva is the possessive in Sanskritam, one's own, right? So one's own path. So if it's not that inside of the path of grace that I'm taking assistance from the superior who has what is desirable to me, it's not that my own path is not present there. It's a question of what's predominant. Am I predominantly relying upon my own power, bodily, mentally, emotionally, willfully, spiritually, right? The power of my spiritual presence combined with my mental power, or maybe specifically I just have emotional power by, I can build up this strong emotion and get things done, so on. When that becomes contained inside of and characterized by the para, shelter in the superior, that is the path of pushti, the path of grace, whereas the sva path, where a svatantra, independent, will, that is the sva path. So inside of moksha now, the 4th pursuit of life, there are 2 types of paths. One that is sva, by my power, ascending. And one which is para, by taking support from the superior, getting their grace and blessings, descending, right, from them. So the 4 traditions concerning liberation, the 4th pursuit of life, 2 schools. So 2 schools he's going to talk about are the sva path. He's going to talk about those 2 first, that by my power, the sva path. He's going to talk about 2 of those. And then he's going to talk about 2 of the other, the para, the descending or grace paths. So 2 schools teach that liberation is attained through self-effort, sva, while the other 2 paths require taking the assistance of God, the para, the parent, right? So dvidha, right, both of them, dve, svatastra, sva, right, svatastra, by my own. So then those 2, sankhya and yoga. So when we say ao on the end of the sankhya yoga, both of them. Sankhya yoga, prakirtito, kirti, right, to glorify something. They glorify, right, these 2 paths glorify independence and then using one's own will and mind and discipline and so on to get things done, to get that moksha. And then some details about these 2 paths, right? So tyaga vibhagina. Vibhaga is section, right? Vibhaga. So tyaga vibhagina, sankhya tyaga prakirtita. So one of them says to tyaga, to renounce or give up, internally, whereas one of them, and not necessarily renounced externally, but internally. And one of them encourages external renunciation of the world itself. So both yoga and Samkhya have been mentioned as the two traditions in which self-effort can produce the liberated state, svatastra. The Sankhya system teaches external renunciation. So my activity is going to be taken away from the outside, and my activity will now only be inside. While the school of Eightfold Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, right, Yama, Niyama, Pratyahara, right, all this asana, dharana, does not promote external renunciation, but it promotes a reorganization of the mind, a control, right, the nirodha, the vrittis, the fluctuations and movements of the mind, right, nishtita, they have to be firmly situated and controlled and focused. So, next shloka, aham tamama tanashe. So aham, I, and mama, my. So aham and mama, nashe. Those are the misconceptions about those two things need to be sarvata, right? All of it gotten rid of, and niraham kritau. The ahankar, the false conception of myself as the doer, which manifests itself as me and mine, these two ideas, need to be completely gotten rid of. And then swarupa stha. So stha, again, is the Sanskrit word from which the English word steady and situated, those words come from. So swarupa, sva, one's own, rupa, form, stha, swarupa sto, to be situated in one's true form. Yada, then, jivaha, the self, the soul. Kritartha sanigadyate, can be considered. So practitioners in these true traditions are deemed spiritually accomplished. But kritartha, they have gotten that which is desirable. They are deemed spiritually accomplished when they become forever free of all mistaken identifications relating to me and mine. Then they become established in their true form. The next shloka, tadartham prakriya kachit purane pi nirupita rishabhir bahuda prokta palame kamabhahyatah. So the methods for doing those things, so he's told you what they consider and then how to do that. So the sadhya, or the end result, has been given. Now the sadhana, how that is achieved. The actual methods for liberation have been revealed in certain portions of the Puranas. Enlightened sages, rishi is the sages, bahuda prokta, they have spoken a lot, bahu, a lot. Enlightened sages have spoken about liberation in many different ways, right? Bahuda prokta. The final reward, the palla, so that last line here, palla, palame kamabhahyata. The final reward they all refer to is the same, as long as it does not contradict Vedic traditions. So this is the rule in Vedic tradition, that there are some axiomatic truths which are self-evident, not dogmatic, but everyone can readily observe. And so whatever further conclusion we want to come to, it should never contradict that basic universal reality that we are all a part of, objective reality. And that is what is referred to in one single concept as Brahman. Okay, so that's the two ascending paths. And so certainly these paths manifest in a particular lineage, and they have their practices. So I can, go to some guru or some teacher, and he's going to teach me, asana practice. Some of them may even teach you the whole yogic process, yama, niyama, right, asana, and all these, meditative practices, how to focus the energies in the body in a special way to facilitate control of the vrittis of the mind, by first controlling the airs of the body and so on. But also there's a deeper, obviously a deeper meaning here, that no matter what your external or internal engagement, there's a very deep and simple place, a very simple notion of, is it by my power I'm approaching something to try to create the perfection or get what I want? Or is it by taking shelter? So what would be the motivation in each of these decisions, these choices? The idea in Pushti and in any bhakti path is that my perspective is as a jiva, as an individual living being. And no matter what my liberated state may be, my perspective is as an amsa, or a part, not the whole. So I don't have the whole or the absolute perspective. So artha, that which is desirable, has another translation that is meaning. So artha can mean that which is desirable and also meaning. So in the context of language, artha is the meaning of a word. How do I know what is artha, what is desirable to me, unless I know its meaning? And what does meaning mean is contextual relationship. What is my relationship as a jiva to the whole, Bhagavan? I will never have that whole perspective. I can have my perspective via my relationship with Purushottam, with Bhagavan, with my Thakurji, my Guru. And by simply engaging through that relationship that I can relate to, I can recognize to some degree and so on, then I can be sure that I'm making good progress that way, because by my own power, I'll never have that absolute perspective and know what the overall plot of this story really is. But just by taking shelter of the main person around which that plot is revolving, I can know I'm safe and I'm in good hands and I'm doing the right. As long as he says I'm doing the right, great. Then I know I'm okay. So that then shraddha, you can have that faith, right? That will build into viveka, discrimination, and we get into that later. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the two grace paths by which we take shelter of someone higher. So in the path of yoga, so we're going to get it, I'll just read through the 9 on page 30 here. So in the path of yoga, renunciation is not external, but it is done inwardly with the mind. The eightfold practice of knowing what to do, what to avoid, sitting properly, breath control, focus, one-pointed concentration, meditation, and total absorption, samadhi, must all be perfected in this yoga for the practitioner to become accomplished. So much can be said. I'm going to go over this for today. So the parashrayena mokshastu, right? So now the para, the path, the superior, taking the shelter of the superior, the parashrayena, ashraya, shelter. The word shelter comes from shraya, ashraya. Parashraya, higher shelter. Mokshastu, to get the moksha. Vidha, 2 of them. Dvi, the Sanskrit word for 2 is dve. So ekam dve. Nirupyate. So Brahma, Brahmanatam, Yattash, Rupena, Shusreivate. So the 2 traditions of liberation which rely on the help of another, either Vishnu or Shiva, have also been recognized in Vedic literature. And then he's referring to Brahma also, right? Brahma, Brahmanatam, right? So Brahma is resorted to by the Brahmanas, or the priestly class and so on, who carry out those functions in society. To perfect their Brahmanhood. Therefore, Brahma is not resorted to for liberation, although there are a few mentions of Brahma awarding it. So it's not his normal role that he plays, although it is clear that he is a manifestation, a very base, powerful manifestation of Brahma, of Krishna. But his normal role is basically performing the function of knowledge dissemination. And the brahmanas in society, being compared to the head of the body of society, can take shelter of Brahma in playing that role or that function. But on a few occasions, it's mentioned that he has given liberation to some, or that's not his normal role. So for those souls who desire to attain liberation with the help of another, the Parapath, both Shiva and Vishnu have been known to be their benefactors in this world. So now, okay, who are these characters, Vishnu and Shiva then? So Vastuna, to know these things, Stitti Sanharo, Karyo Shastra Pravartako, Ramai Vatadrisham Yasmat Sarvatmaka Tayoritav. So both of them, right, have been revealed in their own literatures as, so Vishnu is the sustainer of creation. So the role of Vishnu is that, of sustaining. Everything is resting in him. The proper conduct and maintaining the large and the small balance and everything, that is the role that he plays. While Shiva is the destroyer, right? So Brahma creates, right? He manifests from the simple many complexities. Shiva will take those complexities and break them back down into the simple again. And Vishnu is maintaining that whole process, right? So he's containing these two polar opposites working together. Know without a doubt that the Supreme Brahman is both Vishnu and Shiva, for they both have been declared as the self of all things. So it's the same Brahman, the same Bhagavan, that is playing these different roles, performing these different functions. And so they are resorted to by different bhaktas. So there's a lot of people who still have a sectarian understanding where, Shiva is Bhagavan to me, Vishnu is Bhagavan to me, and they'll decry each other. So this is still a little bit of a shallow understanding, but by their grace, taking the para path here, they will be elevated to a perspective where they gradually can develop that knowledge through bhakti. So nirdosha purnagata, so purna gunata, so they'll get the guna, the qualities, and get rid of their doshas. Nirdosha, the context. They have also been described in their own scriptures as flawless or devoid of doshas, no faults. And purna gunata, gunas, qualities, purna, again, full. They're full and replete with all qualities and devoid of any faults, both of them. Tata chastre dayokritha bhoga moksha phale datum to give bhoga enjoyment, and moksha phale the fruits of moksha. Shakto dvavapi yadyapi. So even though both Shiva and Vishnu are able to award enjoyment and liberation, so either one of them can award either of these things. So then continuing on, so then it is quite clear that Shiva grants enjoyment while Vishnu bestows liberation. So let's draw this into a very common sense context where, there may be two people here, and we're both qualified to perform a particular thing, to carry out a particular activity. However, I'm playing this role, and they're playing that role. So even though we could do the other thing, one or the other, this is the role we're playing right now. And so generally, you would go to the person who's playing that role, right, depending on what you want and how you want it and so on. So generally Shiva grants bhoga or enjoyment, right, while Vishnu bestows moksha or liberation. So a powerful person in the world does not give away that which he cherishes most, except on rare occasions. And even when he would only give it, even then, he would only give it to someone who is very dear to him. Since Shiva's most treasured asset is liberation, he grants enjoyment. So Vishnu's greatest bliss is his enjoyment with Lakshmi, and so he awards liberation. They reward those who belong to them and have taken their refuge. So this is the key here in belonging and refuge. So our first Ashtakshara mantra says, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, right? I'm taking refuge. I take refuge of Krishna. Krishnaha in third person. I take refuge of Krishna. Sharanam. And then the belonging, dasoham, right? Krishna tvamasmi. Krishna, now speaking to Krishna directly, I am yours, talking directly to Krishna. Dasoham Krishna tvamasmi. Krishna, I am yours. So then you belong, right? So they reward those who belong to them and have taken their refuge. So by establishing personal relationship with someone is the method of the para path. So by winning something by my own merit, by going through a path of rules and regulations, right? I'm going to meditate and focus and be disciplined in my habits and so on and so forth. It's not that those things don't exist in the bhakti path. They're not the predominant consideration. They are considered subordinate to I'm going to do these things, but I'm going to do them in such a way that they support me to take shelter and become someone who actually belongs to Krishna, right? So then there are specific practices which followers of Shiva and Vishnu adhere to. So they're still doing yamas and niyamas, right? But it's just what is predominant in the process is characterized by the whole attitude. I'm winning this, or let me become qualified, to become yours. And naturally, that's everything desirable will come as a concomitant with that. So it would be troublesome for Shiva or Vishnu to bestow something they are not accustomed to giving. Souls are by their very nature impure. And what that means is it doesn't mean the Christian idea of eternal sin or something like this at all. But there's whatever we're associated with, or whoever we're hanging out with, we tend to absorb those kind of qualities as opposed to being able to independently remain pure and untouched by any doshas or faults or discrepancies. So to become forever free from all impurities, forever, right? It's not like, okay, I have to become pure and then I'm going to just fall back in the mud again and this is just some eternal process of falling down and getting up and so on. That's samsara. So to become forever free from all impurities, one should practice devotional listening, shravanam, and other. So Shravanadi, all those 9 processes starting with listening, and other appropriate spiritual practices. So spiritual practices are there for everybody, right? And it's just our attitude of independent or taking shelter that we're going to organize and utilize those spiritual practices. Know that liberation is easily attained from Vishnu, and similarly, enjoyment is easily granted by Shiva. So now Vallabhacharya has given this very nice, simple, straightforward way of seeing the Vedas, which are, whenever we want to know about anything, the first question is always, what is the desired end result here? And then we'll see how everything relates to that. So what do people want? These 4 things. And within that, the most desirable that they're all building towards is the moksha. And within that moksha, there's 2 ways, right, that we can approach that. And so on. So he's built us a nice, simple, straightforward way of seeing all these things. And now when we go to hear teachings from anybody, we'll be able to quickly, very, very quickly and simply discern what path they are espousing, how they're looking at spiritual life and translating teachings and so on, and practicing, and what their goal is versus our goal, and so on. Now the last shloka will dip into Pushti a little bit. So samarpa ninatmano hi tadiyatvam bhavedruvam atadiyataya chapi kevalaschet samashritah tadashaya tadiyatva buddhye kinchit samacharet swadharma manushtitan vai bharadvai gunyam yatha ityevam katitam sarvam neta jnane brahmaha punaha. A practitioner who dedicates his or her soul will certainly attain the exalted position of belonging to God. So belonging, it's not something that I earn by my own power. This is something that belongs only in the para path. I can't go and meet you and just declare my accomplishments or project my stature in different ways and present myself as worthy, and just by virtue of my own qualification have the right to expect your acceptance in your heart. That may win a particular way of being treated on a social level with respect and regard and so on. But this type of belonging is only won by developing a personal relationship. And this can be a path to getting to know somebody, because we're unique, they're unique, and our relationship will be unique. And a relationship takes time and dedication and, actions and exchanges and, adjusting ourselves and so on. And when that state of belonging happens, it's not a matter of, like he said, when you want to become forever free of impurities, right? In other words, you attain belonging, you become forever free of impurity because you're associated with the Supreme Pure. It's not a matter of holding something or balancing something anymore. It's a matter of who I am. And who am I? I am seen in my relationship with Krishna, and that's who I am. That's my primary identity, is always a relationship. Artha, or meaning, is seen in context of a relationship. And when Krishna becomes, not just intellectually, the way we relate to ourselves and everything, Krishna is the center of that relationship. His relationship weighs more than all the other relationships, and my natural values are his interests. Then there's a state of belonging that arises, right? And our desires are simply his desires as they express through us, and so on. So this is grace, the grace path. If one does not attend to these, so now some important teachings also. So if the divine state of belonging has not arisen, so that the sva, the independent sense of self, is still what we need to rely on to function at this point. The para has not grown up enough yet to become the predominant motivating factor. So we're still practicing. Then one should take his shelter and feel one belongs to it. So the belonging state has not arisen, but we can at times feel that. So I sit here, I make a mood, I make a space, I use these mantras, I perform some seva practices, I do things so that all of it, so that this feeling, this bhava, even for some moments in my day, or I sit there and I can meditate and so on, all to feel and have this time where I'm directly in touch with that bhava, that I belong to you. Shri Krishna sharanam mama dasoham Krishna tvam asmi. And the more time we spend in that mood, that swarup, one's true form, is nourished and develops and grows, right? And will be expressing itself more and more. So while that stage is there, one should take his shelter, feel and belong, while observing at least some dharma practices that are prescribed for one's particular stage of life. So there are practices that are there. Vedic literatures talk about them in detail, but there are a lot of them are quite common sense as well. But basically what he's saying is you should attend to your normal worldly, lokic, worldly considerations. Don't prematurely try to give up something before you have standing in the next step. So you should, keep yourself steady, right? So we in Pushti Marg, most of the time, this is a path of householders. People are keeping their home and so on. And that provides us the arena, the place in which this bhava, this mood, can be fostered and allowed to develop and develop until one point that becomes the predominant factor. So if one does not attend to these practices of dharma appropriate for your stage of life, what your duties are as a woman, a man, a mother, a father, a daughter, a son, and so on, then the burden will be twofold. Right? So it's already enough that we have this spiritual longing, and we're trying to satisfy the spiritual longing that none of these material activities will satisfy. This piyasa, this thirst in our soul, that's enough to bear. But if we then start neglecting, because of a childish, simplistic, extreme, fanatical, understanding that it's all this or it's all that, right? This is simplistic nature. It's not complex and nuanced like a mature person. Then you're going to have the burden also of not having, right, the sense of peace and stability that takes work on the lokic level, on the worldly level. So because you will not have achieved spiritual longing or merit of proper action, right? So by understanding all that I have said in this teaching, confusion concerning the pursuits of life will never arise. Vallabhadi Shaki Jai. So here's a beautiful perspective that lets us enter this common arena in which the Pushti practice and Leela takes place.